I was so excited when I pressed the button. I think I get excited because I'm talking to all of you. Hello, happy Thursday. Welcome to Medium Small Talk. If this is your first time watching, I encourage you to go back to the first episode. I don't think I explained too much about myself, but anyways, it was a good introduction to kind of who I am and what I do. But for those of you who don't know me, I am Kayla. I am a psychic medium. I do one-on-one readings for a living as a part of my business. I'm also a writer and kind of transitioning into more of like a teacher role, although I'm not quite sure what that looks like yet, but just trusting in that process. But in the time being, I am doing small teachings on here, more so kind of offerings of information. And I want to be clear about this. It comes from me in terms of my own personal experiences, what I have walked through, how I come to understand certain things and the way the world works, but also from that spiritual lens. You get a lot of information from my guides, from my team, from my journey, and also, from things that, and from other teachers, spiritual teachers that I have read books on, and topics that I read books on from them, or videos and whatnot. So it's a compilation of a bunch of things. And if there's a specific bit of content or information that comes from someone specific, I'll always tell you. But for the most part, it's me, spirit, just kind of connecting and talking. So today, this episode is really going to be about energy protection, because I did a post, kind of like a poll last week, asking what people wanted to know more about, kind of manifesting. So we'll talk about that next week. More like a manifesting 101. It won't be super detailed, but I do, but anyways, the majority of people did say that they wanted to learn more about energy protection. Now, I will add that I was hoping to do an interview / video with one of my good friends, Nada. And she is a local healer, shaman, practitioner, Reiki practitioner. She's really amazing and very, has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to energy, more specifically to healing, because a lot of people were curious about that topic. Now, I will, because of certain things going on for her, she hasn't been able to kind of connect and us find the time to do that, but that will be coming. But for the purpose of that video to come, I'm not going to get into much about energy healing specifically, or how it works to kind of tap into someone's energy, tap into your own energy, that kind of stuff. This specific video will be more so about protection and what that even means. But I guess I should say that in order to talk about protection, we do need to talk about what energy is. So, I am literally not a specialist. It is not my, topic of interest. Well, it is topic of interest, but it's not something that I specialize in any means. I mean, I've done my Reiki and that kind of stuff, but in terms of energy, I will explain how I perceive it, or how spirit explains it to me to explain to my clients. Let's just say, for the sake of this video, we're talking about protection of energy, protection of your own energy, okay? That can also kind of fall into protection of like your kids and your family. But in terms of energy, I'll explain it like this. Like if you're in line at a grocery store or something, and when someone has no personal boundary space and they end up in your bubble, like right on the back of you, and you like turn around irritated, because not so much their physical touch that alarms you, but it's that energetic feeling that triggers someone's really close to me, get out of my space. Especially because it's a stranger, it's uncomfortable. So you kind of like irritatedly isn't a word, but you are irritated and you turn around and you kind of check out who's behind you and kind of like move forward. Again, it's not the physical kind of touch that they were touching your body or bumped you. First, it was just this all-knowing, intuitive feeling, energetic feeling that they were up in your space. Now, that happens all the time. It's how we kind of move through the world. So we have our energetic body, and then our physical body, and then our emotional body, and so on. But our energetic body spans out quite far. And so I always think about it as like a classroom full of kids. If you think about it from an energetic perspective, like someone who can see auras and so on, if you're at the back of the classroom and you're looking out, each child has these 7 layers of auric energy around them. What do you think happens? They're close to one another. Sometimes they're in 4s or pairs. All their bubbles, so to speak, energy fields all interconnect. And so that's really not harmful, but it can be harmful in a way to children or parents who don't understand that their child is more empathic and more sensitive to that energy. So they're not just picking up on what's happening within theirs, they're feeling everything that's happening into all of that because it's all interconnected. So that's like a little bit about energy. We have so our chakras kind of extend outwards in a way. So we have 7 dimensions in our energy field, and each one of those kind of levels serves a purpose. But what I kind of wanted to focus on, or what I should say, is that when I think of energy protection, I think of burnout. I think of this whole demographic or chunk of people in the world who don't have language around their own energy or spiritual experience. So I'm looking at fields like doctors, nurses, social workers, teachers, just all these fields where burnout may be really high. And what a lot of people maybe don't know, and what I've come to realize a lot of people don't know, is that just as important, or just as physical health, our mental health, like taking care of our physical body, like we know we need to drink water, eat vegetables, eat a salad. We know that there are certain things that benefit our body more, so we're knowledgeable and aware of that. So sometimes we will connect the fact that we are in a bad mood to like not drinking a lot of water. We're crabby because our blood sugar is low. So we have that understanding as a human experience. We understand that our mental health is very important, right? To be, especially nowadays, there's more understanding and awareness around the importance and value of taking care of our mental health. So we also know that if we have a lot weighing on our mind and we're not sleeping and there's just a lot of weight and anxiety and worry and thoughts and just we're holding a lot, we know that's going to impact our day. So we can look out to the world and be like, I get why I had a crappy week. I get why my day was pretty shitty because I have this, going on and I haven't, drank enough water. We connect the dots to all of that. Same with our emotional health. If we're feeling really sad, if we're going through a breakup, if we're going through grief, if there's like a lot of emotions weighing in our emotional body, added to the mental weight, added to the physical, we can connect the dots. And we're like, okay, I get why, I've been the way I've been, or I've been feeling the way I've been feeling. Now, we also know that socially, okay, I've been down in the dumps, like I don't feel really great in terms of I'm not getting out there. I haven't seen friends in months, I haven't had any social life. We know that the social aspect of ourselves is important because when we isolate or we don't have human contact, that can get really depressing for our system because as humans, we crave that connection. So I just spoke about our emotional or our physical body or aspect of self, our mental aspect of self, our emotional and our social. But our spiritual is another one that is the first to be forgotten. And I preached this way before I was even in college, university, is the value and the importance of that, especially when I was working with children. It's like just the forgotten topic, but there's this whole realm of being and interaction a child is having with themselves and other people that is so pure and so innocent and very spiritual in nature from birth and on. And 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 8, 9, 10 roughly is when the world kind of gets a hold on that and they start to conform and so on. Now, our spiritual aspect of self is just as important, if not as important as all the other ones. And it's the first to be forgotten, as I explained. My connection to that in terms of, let's say, the fields that I talked about in social work and counseling and that and so on is, or being a nurse or teacher or whatever, pretty much any job where you connect with anyone. I'm just thinking of the bigger topics that are kind of within the health social field that I've connected with and worked in. And I know that the burnout rates are super high. Vicarious trauma is super high. And we understand more about that now. But still, it is a forgotten conversation, that burnout and that kind of level of vicarious trauma and just feeling bogged down. It happens when we're not taking care of our spiritual body. And that's also it's also to say family, you know, like if we're constantly in contact with friends and family who, let's say, vibrate at a certain frequency, low, high, or whatever, where they're going through grief, or they're going through a bout of anger, or they're in transformation, or they're down here, or their marriage is struggling, or this. There's all these reasons why people's energy fields feel different to us and therefore impact us differently. So it is important, not necessarily just if you work in a field where you're connected to people and interacting with people, but it's also just as important from our day-to-day life. And what all of that means is that we are a soul in a human body having a human experience, and we do have an energy field, and it does pick up things and bring things in it from the past, from current kind of connections with people. When we do not protect our energy via grounding, via bubbling, so to speak, other visualizations and practices, tools, you know, things that fall in different categories, which I'll explain. When we're not doing those things, we're leaving our field wide open for all the bullshit of the world to come in, and all the heaviness and the sadness. And I mean, you all know what it's like, and I'm giving you language in terms of a spiritual perspective, but let's be honest, like if you're sitting across from a friend who just went through a horrific heartbreak, or if you've ever sat across someone who has been in a violent relationship, if you've ever been with a raw emotion of someone who is in shock of just losing somebody, you know, that's intense. Those are feelings that you feel. And for somebody who's very self-aware would walk away from that connection, that exchange of energy, and be like, wow, like I feel sick to my stomach, or I have nothing left to give, like I just need to go home and sleep. Like, and you don't want to make it about you, and it's not about you, but we think like, oh, what is happening for me? Which is so important, because anytime we do walk away from an energetic exchange with someone, especially in kind of the scenarios I explained, you are going to be impacted, but you're also impacted every day from just any kind of connection. But my point in saying that is you walk away and you have, again, if you have awareness, you're feeling into your body, feeling like, oh, I feel sick, or I feel something in my stomach, or I'm just nauseous, or I feel like I'm gonna cry, like, or I just feel like I just talked for 19 hours and I got nothing, like I just need to lie flat, or, you know, I shut down, or whatever. Oftentimes what's happening is you're absorbing a lot of the energy of those people and those conversations. You're carrying it, you're taking it on, you're feeling it. Without that level of protection, without feeling grounded, it's almost like their experience becomes your experience. Same thing happens with a little child. If a kid has been up all night because of violence in their home, or fighting or something, and they're off and they're not feeling really great, and they're, you know, upset and trying to process those emotions, and they're sitting beside, you know, another child who walked into school feeling pretty good today, chances are that child, without that knowledge and understanding of how to ground and surround and protect their energy, is going to walk away probably feeling the same as that child beside them. But the parent is going to look at it and be like, what happened today? Are you okay? And the kid most likely will not have the language to explain, oh, hey, like I sat beside this child today, and like my friend, and their energy was really different. And, you know, so that's kind of the problem with our world, I think. And I've been a huge advocate for, you know, spiritual language within the helping field in which I've come from, and just in, you know, school for a really long time, because there is so much that is happening for a child day to day that actually explains how anxiety gets to the point it does in children, or how, you know, just kind of that feeling of disconnect or the numbing out in teenagehood is because they've had like 10 years of, you know, 8, 7, 9 years of being in the school system and interacting with all these people and teachers. And if they're empathic or sensitive, that is so disruptive for them system. And without an understanding of what's going on, they're absolutely going to get to a point in teenagehood where they're just, or adolescence, I should say, where they just want to numb out, and they're going to smoke weed, and they're going to look to drink, or they're going to look to, you know, use, you know, sex. They're going to look to use, you know, eating, different things to just tap out and numb out, because they have no idea why they're so fatigued and exhausted and just depleted every single day. So very important, just as an advocate, to start with young children and giving them that language. But let's talk a bit about how to protect that energy. So I've kind of been explaining, I'm not sure if it's in the best way, of really how energy happens and how it is affected by one another, right? It's just like if you're in a really good mood and you had a really good day at work, and you go home and let's say your partner is just miserable. they had a bad day, everything like that. How long does it take from your energy to shift from your good day to their bad day? And usually what it looks like is, well, what's your problem? Like, I was in a good mood and now I feel crappy and ruined, and like you project, right? But really it's just being able to separate and be neutral to the experience, right? And just say, okay, and come from that place. It took a long time to be able to sit across from, my hair, what's happening? It took a long time to be able to sit across from women with some of the most like heaviest traumatic experiences and not to connect to it. A part of you always does, right? Because we don't want to shut ourselves off in who we are and how we connect with people, right? It's a big part of what makes us who we are, but there has to be some boundaries, right? So essentially, you can also look at it from a boundary perspective. A lot of the grounding, a lot of the protection and stuff is really also a way of energetic boundaries being set, okay? And emotional and mental, I would say too, boundaries, which our world does not know enough about, especially in the workplace, which attributes to burnout. Let's refocus, Kayla. Okay, I probably need a crystal. I had one in my hand just to kind of ground me. Okay. So for the sake of this video, not being 75 hours, I'm just going to focus on 2 things as a way. Actually, I'll do 3. 2.5. Okay. I will explain these quickly as, again, a way for you to understand that there are tools available to you so that you can learn to integrate them into your everyday life. So that you can become more grounded and more protected. And when I explain this to people, and trust me, I was one of those who would roll my eyes every day. Dude, yeah, you're responsible for your own energy. I love it. Was on Oprah a long time ago, and I can't remember for the life of me. I think it was like 11 or 12, but I was watching an episode and somebody was on there and somebody said, and I'm not sure if it was Oprah, but somebody said the only thing you are responsible for in this world is your own energy. And it's so true. Because if you think about it, Walmart's a good example. If every single person who either worked at Walmart or went to Walmart in like a day's period was fully responsible for their energy, they protected themselves, they checked in with themselves, they bubbled themselves, they owned their own energy, and therefore the expansion of that and how that filtered on other people. If everyone was careful and mindful and intentional about that, dude, we would have like such an easy world. You know, we would be able to go into Walmart without leaving and feeling like heavy and sad and all of that because we're picking up on the burdens of everybody. Mostly I use Walmart as an example, nothing to that, just for the sake that it's a very busy place and most people who will leave will say that they feel very drained. Same with malls too. Anyways, what was my point? Yes, every day. It took me a long time to realize, and sometimes I roll that I have to bubble myself, I have to ground myself, I have to do that quick meditation, I have to do that work. But you know what? The consequence of not doing that is far greater than me being lazy and, you know, just actually setting time aside to do that every day. It looks like, you know, starting the week okay and ending with having to numb out or tap out, or you're so tired or exhausted. It's a way of protecting you and showing up for you, and you deserve that. So just like I said at the very beginning, just like you drink water intentionally because you know your body needs it, just like you eat some vegetables however many times a day or a week because you know your body needs it, just like you go to counseling, or just like you support yourself or a friend when you know that they need it when they're going through turmoil or their emotional body is really manifesting in a very sad way, or their mental weight, or however you take care of yourself in those ways, it is the same thing when it comes to you showing up for yourself in a spiritual way. Okay? So quickly, 3, because I do have a client soon and I gotta be focused. Okay, grounding. Now, grounding, there are 1.9 billion grounding exercises out there. Mine is an amalgamation of many readings, teachers, YouTube videos, books over the years. But I will explain to you quickly how I ground myself every day. Now, let me just check something.